We're doing two WNBA player props here on PrizePicks for Wednesday, July 16th. We do have a massive WNBA slate today. We got games going on all day. A game coming up here shortly at the time of me recording this video. I'm targeting here these later two games, so obviously this video has enough time, before these games start. I'm targeting Indiana, New York, Vegas versus Dallas. Before I get started though, link in the description below. You guys hop into the Discord. $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day. Currently doing a promo right now for first-time members of the Discord. 20% off your first month, comes out to like $6 for the full first 30 days. Again, link in the description below for that using promo code TUFF. Again, super positive community. That's where I post all the plays that I'm making on PrizePicks as well. But let's get right into it, you guys. Two player props that I do like. Again, this video is going to be shorter type of video. There's not a ton of elite value on the board. I think we do see some kind of blowouts here, especially with the All-Star break, right? These are the last games before the All-Star break for the WNBA, I believe, unless there's some games tomorrow. Yeah, so this is the last games for a lot of these teams before the All-Star break. So again, could help some teams, could benefit some teams, but at the same time too, we got to be mindful of that when we're looking at these player props. But let's get into it. Both these plays are going to be first half lines. I just think, with the value with first half in these matchups, I like the upside for him. So the first play I'm looking at here is going to be Natasha Howard over 12.5 fantasy score. Looking at this matchup here, Indiana versus New York, I don't think Caitlin Clark is going to play here. Again, All-Star break's coming up. This is the last game before the All-Star break. She hurt her groin with like 5 minutes left in that game against the Sun. And this is a back-to-back. They played last night. I don't see any reason they play Caitlin Clark in this game. And again, I want to reiterate, this line is kind of 100% dependent on Caitlin Clark not playing, but at the same time too, her lines aren't even on the board on PrizePicks, which tells me that PrizePicks, I'm sure these lines are already kind of inflated to Caitlin Clark not playing in this one, which should help us here. But Natasha Howard, coming to look at it really quickly here over on Outlier. Again, there's a link in the description below. You can get a 7-day free trial with Outlier. Absolute elite research betting tool, you guys, that I do use every single day. 7-day free trial with the link in the description below of this video. But you can see here this filter this season without Caitlin Clark. Natasha Howard's over in 7 of 10 games, but over in 7 of her last 7, just been going absolutely crazy. If we look at her last 5 games without Caitlin Clark in the first half, she's averaging 16.5 minutes, which again is more than enough minutes for a player like Natasha Howard. Over in 5 of her last 5, averaging 19.7 first half fantasy points. But like I said, over in 7 of her last 7 games, just a ton of upside here. In New York Liberty, without Jonquel Jones here is going to be out in this one. Their defense has taken a pretty big hit. We look here at opponent points just in general since June 23rd. The New York Liberty are allowing the 5th most points to opponents, as well as the 2nd most rebounds to opponents, which obviously points, rebounds correlates well to a player like Natasha Howard. And if we just look at kind of other players, forward players, first half fantasy score lines versus the Liberty, you can see the hit rate on this line. Brianna Jones 17.8, Gabby Williams 20. Brianna Jones 50.3, Satusa Bali 19.5, Alyssa Thomas 27.3, Gabby Williams 20.5, Nyeka 14.8, Azura Stevens 19.1, just bigs, right? Pleasant players. Brittany Griner 16.5. So we see the type of upside here that a lot of these players do have against this New York Liberty team. Obviously, her usage and upside increases when Caitlin Clark is out. This was at 12 earlier this morning. It's now at 12.5. I'm still playing it here. Obviously, 12.5 is the play, but be mindful that this could even bump even more before this game tips off. The second one here, again, super short video. It's going to be Asia Wilson over 23.5 fantasy score. She really had her best game coming off her last game. Essentially, she had 42.1 first half fantasy score against the Golden State Valkyries, which is actually the best paint defense in the WNBA, and she went crazy versus them, 42.1. I really think she's tired of the Aces just not coming out strong and just losing or even being in these super close games when they shouldn't be. And obviously this is a good matchup versus the Dallas Wings, who are just baby food in the paint. Really quick, just looking at the hit rate for Asia Wilson, she's over in 10 of 17 games this season, 59% hit rate, averaging 25.47. This is honestly the lowest first half fantasy score line I've seen for her in maybe even a couple years, because this line even last season was at 27.5, 28.5 sometimes, even 30.5 in some matchups. But looking at Asia Wilson here, the Dallas Wings since July 1st over the last 4 or 5 games, averaging 40 points opponents are averaging 40 points per game in the paint, which is the third most in the WNBA, 40 points in the paint. And they're also allowing 2 opponents over the course of the whole season, the second most blocks, third most steals, just every sort of statistical category for opponents benefits A'ja Wilson. Third most total points, fifth most total rebounds, but I love the steals plus blocks upside for A'ja Wilson in this one. And then obviously at 23.5, this line's just a little bit too low for me here. When in a game they obviously want to win before the All-Star break, the Vegas doesn't have the greatest record here. And this is just a little bit too low over line for me. Again, you can kind of trust A'ja Wilson in these types of spots. And I'm expecting this game to be competitive, but I think A'ja Wilson at 23.5 first half fantasy is just too low. So 2 player props, you guys, for this WNBA slate today. Natasha Howard, 12.5 fantasy score first half. A'ja Wilson, 23.5 fantasy score first half. Both overs. Please drop a like, you guys. Hit that subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.